$2.50 per Alani, and then they like finally announced that they'll like do powder form, so it's like $1 per drink now. So I do like
You
the
can get
powder
the
form.
mini Alanis too if you were to, to
Yeah,
create
you
like
need
a
like a
yeah.
oh yeah, just do it like a
Or
grenade
or
launcher,
mini
like a
Alanis, yeah.
yeah,
I
put it
was
across
visiting a
your chest.
client, Whitmix in Kentucky, for a Fit Gap, and that's just probably been 2022. But the gal who was like their production manager was drinking Alani Nu, and she's like, I was like, I forgot to bring my energy drink. She's like, oh, I got you. So she went to her like little mini fridge and she grabbed this thing, and that hit me like, yeah, she was like, I got you. That hit me with the caffeine feels like I've never been hit before. Like
It
I was like,
slaps.
yeah, it was like
It slaps
3 minutes
hard.
later, I was like, just hitting, just
Hi everyone, my name is Bobby.
exactly. It was
Now,
it was outrageous. I had to the next day I was like, I need about just a sip of this thing. It's killing me. But
Yeah,
they're
that's
good.
how energy drinks usually hit me. I'm like, hey, I got a twitch in my eye.
I think the military can ruin me for caffeine. So that's kind of also how we ended up with this conversation, because I'll do like an Alani in the morning and then like a large cold brew by like 12 o'clock in the afternoon,
Oh my
and I'm
god.
like still falling asleep by the end of the workday. And like,
I
man,
do think I also have caffeine like resilience or tolerance now, because I could drink it like an Alani at like 7 o'clock at night now, and it'd be like,
That's crazy. Wow.
I I try to like not drink any caffeine on the weekends. So then
To
it's like
reset.
you try to reset,
Those
and
two
it's like
days.
detoxing.
yeah, those 2 days are kind of rough.
There's
That's
a
called
zombie.
Botoxing. Nah.
Yeah, Botoxing. There we go. We But like on vacation, I'll try like the entire 7 days without caffeine,
How does that
and
work?
um, it mostly works because like I'm actually able to get 8 hours of sleep, so it's like more of a I'll use the sleep to be awake
Hmm.
versus like uh,
Natural caffeine.
yeah, these
Whoa,
days
who would have
yeah
thought?
these days it's been like shoot, last night I went to bed at 11 o'clock at night, woke up at 4 o'clock, and that's been like that every work day. So my kids are not just refusing to go to sleep.
I
It's
would be like a character from Walking Dead. Like I would be a zombie. You would
Yeah.
slice my head off or shoot me in the face if you saw me at like if I was operating at that level.
it
I
Yeah.
is
just can't do it. I'm in bed by
empowered by
9.
caffeine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless we're like it's the opposite for me. Like when I travel for work, it's the opposite. I stay out later and I get up early still. So it's like I.
yeah. Well, when I travel for work, it's exactly the same. I'm like out a lot later. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we
Question is, would you have been out to 2:30? Apparently, there was a crew in Ohio that stayed out till 2:30. I'm not going to name names on the podcast because I don't. We don't want to name names.
You got to
But
celebrate the Taylor Swift engagement.
they
Yeah.
were they were
Yeah.
seriously they were
They're doing
downing
it
some
right.
some Swifty drinks at 2:30 in the morning. They closed the bar down at the Embassy. Shocking, the Embassy Suites bar stayed open to 2:30. By the way, that's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Alle-
It was the
Allegedly,
bar. Somebody
yeah.
said
They just
no.
they raided the bar exactly. It's like, yeah.
I heard that H&R Block let everybody go in their corporate office like during the Taylor Swift engagement, like that day. They were like, "Go home, celebrate, like think about
Nobody's
like
getting any
what."
work done anyway, so you might as well
Right.
just yeah. It's
I
not tax season, so who cares? Just go home. Nobody's doing anything.
that's where
Swifties.
my head was immediately. Like it's not tax season, so they're probably like slow anyway. So they're
Yeah,
like, "Get the hell out of here."
that's funny.
Um,
Well, we
the
literally were. I just announced Generate, which is this ERP event that's coming up.
yeah.
Microsoft sponsored with Doug in Miami. For anybody watching this early part of our podcast in December, But we just announced it, and then we got out, and my phone told me that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were engaged, and I was like, darn. And Ryan and I were both like, we could have used that in a really funny way, like
Yeah.
But he did a good job. Ryan did a great job at layering in a little Taylor Swift
for social.
I saw it on
A little
the
social.
media.
Yeah. A little social
Guys,
Swift.
you're
There,
genius.
I must have missed like the LinkedIn announcement for Generate. So that is, was it only announced in Ohio? And this might be like the
I'm not
soft,
sure there
like,
was a LinkedIn announcement yet, Bo.
yeah, yeah. Well, cool.
It's not
We
LinkedIn
were,
official, but
yeah,
now
we
it's
were
BF
literally
Lunch
putting the
official.
final
Yeah.
touches on the website. Like Ryan was like, he was like, we're creeping up towards the opening session, and he's going,
We have to publish
So
it now.
yeah, it's gonna publish. QR
Um,
code.
Yeah,
well,
we were
I'm
literally wearing the QR code on our shirt too. We're like, Ryan,
nice.
this gotta work.
Yeah, he's like, where's that QR code? Yeah, not yet.
No,
Just
you're
running
not
around.
saying it.
Yeah, so no, yeah, no, we're excited. It's Microsoft. I'm talking to a few folks there. They're jumping in with planning, so it's gonna be a cool event.
Yeah, I'm already blocking my calendar for that week of December.
Yep.
Do it.
Yes. Um, the Yeah, that's the caffeine talk. I don't know.
Swag
Yeah.
talk. Check out this
Also, yeah,
Yeah.
what's up with the new?
Dynamics hat I'm
Is that a
wearing.
trucker hat? What is
That
what's
is
going on there?
it is a trucker hat. Kind of,
Okay.
it could be a flat brim. We had those laid out at the Ohio Regional. Opened
Do
up
you
a
have the
little Doug
sticker? Like,
swaggy.
is it brand new? Like, are you showing
Oh
off that
no,
it's
on
still
the
new?
front of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
brand new. Yeah, the tag is it still under?
No,
No, I took it
No.
off.
he means on the top. Isn't there
Yeah.
usually like a? Yeah, Bobby
Yeah.
didn't pick up on that.
That's
The
okay.
what? I got lost.
Doug went
There's
swaggy this week at
Yeah.
Ohio. We had a whole pop-up shop.
dang.
Yeah.
I'm still like only just one polo deep for Doug gear. So
And we had like these really nice Columbia sweaters. We're gonna have them at Texas. Not that you can purchase them or anything, but
Yeah.
we can reserve one for you.
I think we could probably reserve one for Bo.
Yeah, I think so.
please, I'm not going to be
You
there.
can get
I
a
won't
nice
be.
bright Doug
I helped
shirt.
plan the entire thing, and I won't be
Yeah.
there.
I know.
Disney
I
World.
will. Yeah.
We're
Me
at
and
like
Ashley.
200 registrations, I think, for Texas.
Hell
Did we
yeah.
roll over 200? I was looking yesterday. It was
It was at
190 something.
197 the other day, so I'm
Yep.
sure by now we have 200.
Until
It's
Madison
down.
goes back in and gets rid of all the duplicates, and then
Yeah, that's
the,
true.
the 7 Bo registrations when he's not going to do
Yeah, yeah. I register it once a day.
it.
Don't play with us like
There's
that.
like the New Orleans spelling of Bo and the like
Adds an X.
the South
it's
Alabama
BO.
version of Bo, and yeah, there's a lot. Yeah,
My
French
favorite's
Bo. Watch out.
BOW. I like BOW, Shweetso.
There, when I'm like at Starbucks, I know you're drinking Starbucks. Like they'll be like, "What's your name for the order?" And if I say Bo, like half the time they're like, "I don't understand what you just said." So I'm like, "Bow like bow and arrow," and they'll like write BOW. I'm like, "Great, I do
Awesome.
not care as
Works.
long as you can
Phonetics are
pronounce
good.
it." Yeah.
This is my Java the Hutt
Ooh,
Starbucks
okay. It looked like
fake logo.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Wait, they have that printed on the cup?
No, I taped I cut that out and taped it on there.
I was like, I need to go to Starbucks right now.
Yeah, that would be a cool tie-in.
Limited
Yeah.
edition. Yeah.
Yeah, if they did that instead of like holiday cups this year, it's Java the Hutt cups.
I mean, on like May 4th.
Yeah.
On May 4th
Oh,
would be better.
Starbucks, where
Lord,
you at?
Are you listening, Starbucks? We're gonna tag you in this.
Please add us. Yeah, we will.
Sponsored by Starbucks
Yep.
is gonna be on our next.
Yep.
We just started doing town halls here at Capticode, and randomly decided to add like a footer to every slide that said like this is sponsored by, and like this last one was sponsored by like Wegmans food trays because that's what we were eating while we were
That's
like
funny. Did they
making
send
a
Wegman
build
food
for it.
trays out to everybody, like a small like Wegman food tray to you?
I mean, it wasn't actually sponsored,
Okay.
but
Just
like
fake news.
it was just
Fake
fake
news.
sponsorship. The next months though, we cashed in some of our Amex points for like 50 Starbucks cards. So it will like
Nice.
literally be sponsored by Starbucks. So it will
like
be
it.
like
Well,
the
kind
first
of.
person that shows
Yeah,
up,
sure.
boom, Starbucks card. The last person that shows up, boom. Like, by the way, we're all getting Starbucks cards. You're welcome.
This was from a themed. We did like a Star Wars watch party
Oh
of
yeah,
like all the movies over the course of a couple days, and so I created this. We had Admiral Akbars, so we had,
that's
all the
cool.
themed,
Oh yeah,
yeah. And so
like
Java Dog was
a
part of that.
chocolate bar that's like an Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, Admiral Akbar. Yeah,
I
somebody
see
made
it.
little like toothpick cutouts with his head colored in nicely, so they stuck in the bar. So it was
Oh, that's cool.
a lot of
Okay.
fun. Yes.
Okay. There, you never know. Like, I guess you might know, but like, whenever there's like a themed party that we're invited to, like my family and I never know if like this is the party that everyone's gonna go all in,
Mm.
or if it's like
Or
we're gonna be
lightly
the only
dressed.
ones,
Yeah.
and it's like,
You'd be like the
man,
Elle Woods at the party, right? In your bunny outfit.
right. I got to figure out like how to almost like half-ass it every single time. Just like how do I like show up where it's like I wasn't super trying just in case, but like I didn't show up as like a
The
muggle
balance.
for like a Harry Potter themed party. Like I'm
Right.
just a civilian. That's all I showed up as. You're welcome.
Go ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
There, yeah. I think it is the next one is the next regional is that's Dallas, right?
Technically, it's
We have
Europe.
Europe
Okay, you have
on
Yeah,
Europe like
Bree's
in
coming up,
literally in
or is that next
transit
week?
to Copenhagen, like in
next
like a
week.
day or two, right?
Yeah, on Tuesday I'm flying
Tuesday.
to Copenhagen. Woo! First time.
Wow.
I'm super
Yeah,
excited.
because it's what will it be an
Whoa.
overnight flight for you? Like, does it
Yeah.
cross over the yeah? Because then you'll get there Wednesday and have a day to kind of
Yeah, and just be a zombie.
chill
That's
for
when
a
I'll
minute.
start
Yeah,
hitting the energy
yeah,
drinks,
you're gonna
double
be hitting those
fisting.
energy drinks over the Atlantic Ocean. Just start,
Yeah. That whole time I'll probably just be like cracked out on energy drinks.
when the pilot says we're flying over Iceland. If you look down to your left, there's
Hell yeah,
Reykjavik.
we
That's when you
are.
start slamming. Yeah, start slamming those European energy drinks hard.
There, you need to figure out like is this your first flight ever across the ocean?
No, I've been to
Okay.
Europe before. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wow, that's also like a major first. Um, first time in Copenhagen. I've never been, so I'm jealous.
I'm also
Yeah.
jealous.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. Apparently they have really good coffee too. Speaking of coffee.
Okay. Did you like how'd that work? Did you like Rochambeau for like who gets to go to this, or were they
Well,
like, hey,
Bobby was
Bree?
supposed to go, and then I think you had something going on, and I replaced you.
Yeah, but house move and
Oh
and
yeah.
a couple other things, and it kind of just it was like I need to shift one off, and it was going to be Molly and I actually,
Oh yes.
and then Molly
RP.
shifted off. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Molly
Pour one out.
shifted
Yeah.
off. I'll pour one out my other cup, my Fidesz cup
Yes.
that Jacob gave me.
The one that's empty. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
happened too.
yeah, I did not pour
There.
anything on my desk. Um, or it could be like Kevin Reddick and just throw a glass on the floor like Greek style. We were having dinner after the Ohio Regional, and
Yeah.
yes, there were glasses broken. Yeah.
It was lit.
There were,
Yeah.
there were giant wine glasses, shattered on the floor of this nice Italian restaurant.
Okay. Sounds sounds like there's a bigger story there
That's
that
another
I want
podcast.
to like
Yeah,
double click on. Yeah.
that's
Those
that's Doug After
Ohio
Dark.
Ohio folks, they know how to turn up. They know how to celebrate a regional.
Yeah,
I feel like that's I mean, it might be because there's nothing else going on in Ohio,
It's all the
yeah.
but
corn.
And we dropped
yeah.
a couple bills at a strip mall Italian shop. You know you're doing right.
I'm so glad you finished that with mall. Yeah. I was
It
like,
was it was a nice like old town feely place. I'm sure it was like
yeah.
their cool hip place in Dublin.
Yeah.
There the fact that like I don't know what the downfall of strip malls are or was. Like they used to be very popping. Like
Oh,
that used to be
heck
like
yeah.
a maybe the fact that saying very popping is like an indicator of like why strip malls also are not around.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure a strip mall like is poppin'. Yeah, that might be
It
there,
could
an
be.
overstatement.
Depends if you have
I
one in
mean,
it.
yeah, there. I mean, e-commerce like the rise of buying stuff online killed it. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really know what
I
killed
lived
strip
behind a
malls.
strip mall. I mean, literally, like my house was on the like almost the corner, and the next street over was almost the main street in our town, and there was a strip mall right there and a McDonald's. It was like McDonald's on the corner that I lived behind, and a strip mall on the other side, which had all the shops. It had like a health food shop, which sold really cool candy, which is the one thing I bought there. Like I wasn't buying wheatgrass and and vitamins. It was like, what kind of candy do you have? Oh, you got like some honey-based candy that's really sweet. I'm buying that for my
Zero
nickel that I
sugar.
made today mowing a lawn.
They're the like smart candy. Get it out of here.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to mess with that. I am not
No.
messing with it.
Hey, Alex, how's it going, man?
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. Yeah.
Good.
Good.
We were discussing caffeine and strip malls and after dark in Ohio, Dublin, Ohio.
All the good stuff. Yeah.
All
There-
the good stuff. Were you
I
one of the
feel like
ones up
another
to 2 in the
staple-
morning on Wednesday night?
I'm sorry.
Were you one of the folks up at 2:30 in the morning on Wednesday night in Dublin?
I was not.
Not that you will admit, that you will admit on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we recording. No, I'm just. No, I had my session was the next morning, so I didn't stay out too late or get crazy. But I had some colleagues that went to the Pins place.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
that
we
was
were there.
interesting.
So, yeah.
Have you been to a Pins, Bo? I know Bree was there because
No.
she was there.
Is that like a
it's-
bowling alley?
It's like marionette bowling. Yeah, it's like puppet bowling.
Okay.
The pins are on like strings and
Drinks.
yeah,
It's
and you
like
hit them,
duck
they
bowling.
wiggle around
Yeah.
like yeah.
Okay.
And it's
okay.
short. It's like a 5. It felt like a 5-foot lane. Like you're right
It was
there in
perfect
front of the
for
pins.
Bobby and I. Like it was drawn to
Yeah.
proportion.
Like a
the
duck
little
pin
bowling
ball.
balls was like this big.
Yeah.
So they're just hanging there instead of just like.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you knock them down?
You knock them down, and then
So, like,
and
they're
then you
already,
wiggle.
like yeah.
Oh, you
No,
knock
they,
them
they
loose.
sit on the ground.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then
it's not like
that's how
like
they
if you have
reset.
like an 8-10 split, you're
Yeah.
you're still not. I don't know.
Yeah, the mechanics.
I felt
of
like it was
a little
actually.
different,
I hit like I got 3 splits. I picked them up like serious splits because the little rope whips around. I mean, it's got extra elements
Oh,
that you
okay.
can
It's like a
use
new
to your
strategy.
advantage.
I'm tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You had to learn the strategy. It took me about halfway into no, I sucked completely. Madison was great. She had like a cannon arm. Like she stood up. It was like watching. I started chanting "Wild Thing" in the back. She needed some like horn rimmed dark glasses. She was just like throwing at 101 mile an hour down that little teeny fairway, whatever you call it.
She was saying though that she's been to Pins a few times back home, so
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, a little experience on
She had a
her.
bit of
She's
experience.
sandbagging us. Like, are we gonna play for money? This is the first time ever playing this. I don't know.
Exactly. Alex, I've never done this before. What is this? Pians? Pians?
Ian? Pines?
Pines?
Is this is this a tree place? Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah, I'll play for $5.
Right. $5 a hole? What is
Yeah.
this?
Okay.
Home run!
Yeah. Yeah, and then by the end, she's like, I've got a QR code for Venmo if you want. It's a business account because of
Right,
so
right,
much money
right.
coming through.
She's sitting at a table going ching ching.
What is happening?
I'm a big golfer, and if you ever show up to a golf course and somebody has a QR code for their Venmo, you don't play them for money. They've been here before.
Right, yeah, they've got it on like a platinum card they pull out of their wallet.
I've seen people do that, and it's like, well,
I've never seen
not
that.
playing them.
Yeah, that's funny. I have a poker buddy like that who's the
Really?
the king, yeah. You might as well just I'm just gonna put the 20 in yours. You can give it back to me if by chance I win something. It's easier this way.
At that point, you're just playing just to hang out.
Yeah, you're playing
Yeah,
just to
right.
hang out and support this
All
guy,
right,
as
here
you
we go.
know.
This was fun.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're just donating.
What
to
are your
the
kids doing
cause.
again that I'm supporting this week? Oh, they have a tournament in Cincinnati. Perfect. All right.
Alex, I'll have to admit, your like polo had me psyched out for a second. I thought that was like foreground instead of your background image. I thought that
Oh.
was like just Delinea just like floating in the front. I'm like, I gotta ask, and then it like kind of
How's he
crinkled
doing
with your
that?
polo,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, all right, never mind. But
No, I'm not that good. I don't know how to do that. Business,
I'm
I
sure
do,
we
though.
could figure it out. Yeah. Having like a scrolling like foreground thing would be kind of legit
That'd be
during
cool.
Zoom calls or like during just a client like call this number like for 50% off your statement of work.
You're like
And your
like
Venmo QR code.
Cash app me for this interaction, please.
Yeah, right.
Like a old timey phone call when you had to put more nickels or dimes.
Right.
In. It's like midway
You
through
run
the
out of
call.
time.
If you want more of Bo's great advice,
Five,
Venmo him here.
5 minutes left of the meeting. Please, please donate more, and the time will go up. Yeah.
Oh man.
There. So, Alex, yes, we're here to talk about AI. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of this
We can
awesome
yeah.
keep
topic,
going.
but
I mean, we.
the kind of general topic today is a topic that I was reading about and just kind of yeeted it to the group. It's all around AI and whether or not we think it might be killing off agile methodology. So
Yeah.
I don't know if Bobby gave you like a heads up of that's kind of the general topic today, but that's what we kind of want to explore and think about. I don't know
Sure.
if you've got any initial thoughts on it, but yeah.
Well, so I can talk about it because yeah, you can use, and I'm going to take this from a more code development perspective, right? You can use Agile for any sort of business
Sure.
process, right? That you're using, right? You can use it for implementations and use Azure DevOps as like your back end to do your sprints and all that jazz too. But like I can talk about it from how we're starting to use AI a little bit. We're not, we're taking that crawl, walk, run type of approach within Delinea and Fastpath. And I can, I guess, set the stage. And I took some notes, so sorry if I keep looking down. That's kind of what. But the idea is that, I guess, overarching, right, is I don't think that Agile methodology from a code perspective is going away. In the sense that no one is going to use it, but I think that it's going to change, just like everything else that AI is touching, right? How you go about creating your user stories, your features, your epics, that type of stuff, how you do unit testing, and really seeing AI as almost like a work multiplier or a force multiplier, right? For some of these, instead of having to go in and create entire features and break those out in user stories, right? You can have AI help generate some of those requirements along the way, but it's going to definitely change. You may not have as many of the full-blown like requirement sessions, right, that are hours long. I don't know if anybody sits in those from a dev perspective, right? Yeah. Where you could have AI do a lot of that work, and then it's basically you're just checking it and basically saying, does this kind of make sense, right? And going from there, and having that human input of like signing off on it, but letting AI do, kind of the groundwork for you in that case.
I just wanted to replace sprint grooming. Like if I could get away from ever estimating a story ever again, I think that that would be the
Can you give me
chef's
a
kiss.
t-shirt size, Bo,
Yeah.
for your for your
Just
level
like-
of effort?
5 points. There we go.
Yeah.
That one takes 13 points. Can we move on, please? Like,
Right.
yeah.
So basically, this early feedback is where the fallacy of AI is killing something again is a bit of a fallacy. It's not killing it. It's not killing Agile. Even though
be a
there's
little
there's lots of
clickbaity.
articles screaming that.
Right. Yeah, if you search that on Google, you'll get quite a few hits, right? Is AI killing Agile or AI killing film?
And AI generated images of AI killing Agile. Yeah,
Right.
killing you.
That's what we need.
I don't see that yet. It maybe happens in the future, but in the near term, I don't see that happening. But I think, like most things, right? It's a shift, right, and how you're doing it, and I think it's a shift in a good way. To Bo's point, right, that you're not spending your core, senior level architects or solution architects, right, going in and story pointing out your different sprints, right, and workloads, right, and instead you're more focused on actually doing the work.
Yeah.
And what do you think are like best practices to like most effectively use AI when it comes to Agile?
Yeah, so there's a couple key points that I think we've started to do. We're not fully maybe some of the other people that are implementing it, right? But I think one of the good things is you can have AI start to help review your pull requests from a code perspective. And so to do that, right, you have to start giving it, things like your style guides, right, for coding, right? How should this look and feel, right? And so that's where you can start to use reg or that, feeding it, you're training your AI, fine tuning your AI, right, to, or agent, right, to be able to say, here's, the way that we think that our code should look and feel and be developed, right? And you can also, feed it things, from a best practice code perspective, right? The solid principles, things like that. If somebody goes in and writes something that breaks one of those, right, it could call that out. But you can start to have it do some of those more mundane type tasks, right? No one likes writing unit tests. No one likes, doing some of those things, documentation around code too, right? So having it kind of generate some of at least the placeholders for that, right? Again, I think there's still human elements in all of that, but you can start to alleviate some of the, more manual work there from that perspective.
Is that what Captain Code's doing, Bo?
Say that again.
Is Captain Code doing this internally? Are they moving towards some of this type of activity for your development?
Yes and no. I think at the end of the day, it's realistically got to be it's kind of like a cheater answer, but it's exactly what Microsoft is describing with Gen AI is like it's a co-process, so it can, and exactly what Alex is saying. So it can help you, but it's not going to. We don't really envision this ever replacing anything. So I think the articles out there certainly saying like, hey, this is going to be the death of XYZ. Has always been like a clickbait type of maneuver that media has always said. I don't know how many phones have to be released that is like the article that says, is this the iPhone killer? Like iPhone will literally be around like
Forever.
until Apple decides to replace the iPhone. So that will be the iPhone killer, is Apple replacing it. So to me, I think for us, we're using it from like hey, write these contract classes and write these unit tests and get us through some of more of the mundane tasks that developers have to do in order to like do the more meaningful work. So we can trust it to write stuff that's like very, very repeatable. But those tools, those developer tools, have been around for a long time. So Alex, shout out to Alex. Maybe we'll link your GitHub on your developer tools. But like Alex has been enabling developer automation for a very long time. So that kind of process we're already through that hump, if you will. Follow-up question, Alex. Do you think AI, from a perspective of, and this might turn into a really technical podcast, so I'll try to like elevate us out of that after this question. But
use non-technical words. Use your kindergarten words.
So in software development, there's kind of two trains of thought. So when you're writing code, one is write your code and then write tests. So tests meaning test your development or test your code. So the other train of thought is write your tests and then write your code. So that is called test-driven development, meaning I need my code to pass all of these tests. So you write your code in order to pass those tests. It's like a different way to think about it, but a lot of like academics think that's the best way to go,
Right.
essentially. So I think, Alex, you can know where I'm going with this. Do you think that AI will ever get us to finally doing test-driven development, specifically in F&O or specifically with X++?
Yeah, that is a good question. That's always been,
where you go. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Obviously I think everyone kind of wants, it's easier to write code to, hey, does this work? One, and two, does it meet my, if I have a set of requirements, right, from a testing perspective that I have to hit, right, then it's easier to do that. The hardest thing that I have seen so far with like having AI write some of these tests and things like that is having the requirements fully fledged out so that it knows which tests you have to hit, right, to actually create it. And so that's
And
always
in which
been
order, even like the order of tests, all those things.
Yeah, edge cases, things like that. Because as much as one, it's just having somebody actually describe what should this feature do, right, and what do we actually have to test, right? A lot of the what are the inputs going to be, things like that, and then also the unknown, I guess, from an ISV perspective, is always what is the customer data going to look like. That's probably 75-80% of the issues we deal with is because a customer had their data look different than the demo data, right, that we are dealing with. And so I think it will get us closer. I still don't know if you're going to be able to have AI, for example, generate all of your edge case testing to the point where you're going to be confident from day one if you release a feature, right? Again, I'm talking as an ISV. As a customer, you have the data, right? So you can run you have your internal data, you can run that. From an ISV perspective, it's a little bit harder because we don't know what, I can look at something and say, I think this is the different pieces of this, right? Or the different ways that this data could look. But customers always find a way to come up with a new way to store something, or having symbols and names and all sorts of numbers and names, right, that they that off the wall things that you would never think about from a testing perspective. But I do think if you can get your requirements locked down or refinement locked down to the point where here's exactly what this feature can do, then your AI or your co-pilot, what have you, right, can start to help and say, okay, here's the different unit tests I think, right, along the way, and then you could have those in place prior to your development and be able to run that. I don't know if it'll ever get to 100%, but you could have fairly good coverage, I think, right, if you kind of understand the inputs that you're going to get, right, and the functionality that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, the wacky permutations of what users do in testing always astonish me. Like, why would you hold Alt, Shift, and then do your thing? Why did you do that? I would have thought of that, but it created some issue or whatever. I'm making that up. But there'd be weird things like that. Like, why did you do it this way? Why did you type it in all caps? Why? And as a limited developer tester, I'm going to test the same stupid, one item, one size, one color, one thing almost every time because I want to get through and just make sure the basic functionality
that
works.
Item works.
Yeah, that happy
100%. I will guarantee you that item works.
Right.
But yeah, to your point, I think it'd be hard to get all the permutations of quality testing. But and also, I was going to say earlier, we only know what we know now for what AI can do in its current iteration of how it can, emulate. It's accelerating so fast. This conversation may change considerably in 6 months, where we're, but it does seem like the relative half-life of its results continue to get faster and faster. Like it eats itself up, and it just gets kind of a little bit degraded over these type of repetitive task areas.
There, to me, I think like a classic test case that I would have never thought about for is not only user data but like user inputs, like mistakes. So like automating a quantity field to respond to a certain quantity to do something, and they accidentally put a serial number in that quantity field, and it explodes MRP to order 40 trillion items, and you're like, well, that's probably why MRP ran for 30 hours, so that makes sense. So those kind of like test cases, you're like, I don't know that we'll ever have like all of the scenarios ever to exist. So it's like when you add humans into the mix, it's like very much of a like this is very unpredictable. Mistakes happen, but you can't plan for every mistake.
Right.
Um, there, I've seen. I Alex, I'd love to know your perspective on this, but like when Bobby and I are doing implementations, we always we always tend to focus on not trying to predict every single path, but also like rather than do that, we try to focus on like, hey, here's how to reverse a mistake, or here's how to like undo something that you did. What's your perspective on that from like an ISV perspective? Do you guys also have that kind of train of thought, or do you guys have like a compromise there, or love
Yeah.
to know your
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have, a certain, like you said, element of the fact that, there are going to be mistakes, right? Anytime you're bringing humans into the loop of your solution, right, there's going to be issues with that. And so trying to protect the underlying data. And the other thing that I'll say from ISV perspective is to fail fast, right? You don't want to go through this entire process and because one input, right, that the user had at the beginning, was incorrect or was going to be invalid, right? You should do all of that input checking at the beginning of your process, right, before you get to the very end and have all this data being generated along the way. And so, there's a couple different like coding methodologies, and again, you can build those into your if you do have some sort of copilot or something like doing code reviews on your PRs, like validating that kind of, hey, we're getting these user inputs. Are we validating those user inputs are actually, valid? Are we analyzing those inputs to be valid prior to performing all the work, right? Because that work is what's going to cost, as an ISV perspective, we're running a lot of that analysis on our Azure instance, right? So that's costing us. So we want to make sure that we are failing fast selfishly from our perspective, but also from a customer perspective, right? We don't want to have them click a button, wait a couple hours for something to happen, and then fail at the very end because some input was wrong. So there's different coding practices, right, that we are trying to do. And the other thing is that you want to make sure, like to your point, that the customer has a way to fix those, right? You don't want it to have it be something where even if you think that piece of data should never be updated, right? Your birthday, social security number, those types of things. Not saying that we do that, but those types of data, right, that you would think, why would somebody need to ever update that? The odds of somebody, fat fingering or mistyping something at the beginning and now they're stuck, right, to the point that they can't can't update it. You need to have some way to do that. And of course, I'll put my security and audit hat on, right? As long as you have an auditable way, right, to show what happened, right, then that kind of process can be allowed, right? Because that's a lot of the idea behind it, right, is that we don't want somebody just going in and changing these. And it's like, well, as long as you have a log that you can show who's making those changes and things like that, it's a practice you can allow at that point.
You brought up a point,
you
or
had a new
maybe
social security number every time you had a birthday.
Right.
This is news to me. Yeah.
Right.
you made me think about something though, and something just to reiterate too. Humans make mistakes too. So when you hear this, well, AI, we don't want to use it because it makes a mistake or it's not perfect. But I mean, the same is true of humans. We're all, we're out there. To your point, how often, in the old day, I'm sure it still happens today, but when I first started coding, there was there was something called TTS begin, a transaction begin, and a transaction end, which means in code you would say, okay, start this transaction, and so within that transaction, now everything that's using that transaction, any table, class, is now locked. And so if Bo started it, now Bree, if you wanted to go in and actually do something using that table, a customer table, guess what? You're locked out too. So now you're in a holding pattern until Bo's finished. And so if you opened a TTS and didn't end it or had something go wrong, like Bo mentioned, like all of a sudden now, because you put in the wrong data, boom, you're on this crazy offshoot and it's spitting out data, and now it's stuck. You could slam the whole system. That's a coding mistake that somebody made, a human made. So the point is, humans make mistakes. AI is going to make mistakes. We can be resilient to both of them. I think, and figure out how to work through them effectively, the way you would treat a human. You'd hopefully train AI to, like Alex, you mentioned, like, here's a best practice. Don't do this. This is bad. Don't do it again, AI. And they're like, okay. And they do it again. You're like, sorry, you're fired. No, you're not. Bree, I just
Pilot,
kind
if
of,
it's open to feedback.
yeah.
Are you in
Do
the
you
mental
mind
state
a
where
little
you can
feedback?
accept this feedback?
Yeah.
Hey,
By the way,
we're
we
accepting
conditioned
of
you earlier
feedback.
to yes, you do. Kind of back to our topic of Agile being replaced, Bree, just kind of an aside swipe, in the idea of AI managing something, like from start to finish, like if you just said, hey, tomorrow you're going to turn over all vendor management. Hey, we've given it some components. Like, would you feel confident in that? Like AI managing your daily process at this point in your life? Like, I want you to, contact vendors and make suggestions and think of, just kind of give it some prompting, but, to literally manage, like we're talking about taking over a project from start to finish.
No, definitely not. I mean, AI is my little assistant, but she's not my coworker.
It's like, and it's not even little, it's Lil, because you want that
Yeah,
extra little apostrophe. Yeah, just my little assistant.
just my little assistant, but I'm not gonna trust her to take over the project. And
Yeah.
and like we've been talking about, you need to have that second set of eyes. And I think especially when it comes to like collaborating with other departments on the team, I think that's a big part of it as well. That AI cannot complete that human interaction. I was actually thinking, Alex, like we've been talking so much about how like AI benefits you, but do you see it creating any hurdles for you and your team that you've in your use cases?
Um, I think the biggest, I don't want to say hurdle. I'll start with the one where people trying to put AI in places that it doesn't need to be, right? I think that is one that there's, I understand that there's an AI boom right now and everyone wants to have AI to help with efficiency and things like that. But there are definitely things where you, for whatever number of different reasons, right, we should not be putting AI in front of. And I have a hard time to that point. We just got done with DynamicsCon, or the regional event, right, where April was talking about, and I've heard this not just from April, but from other people at Microsoft, where the ERP is going away, and they're just going to have an AI agent sitting in front of it. And to the point, Bobby, you just brought up with Bree, right? Are you going to let an AI actually have write permissions to your GL, right? And actually be able to put in sales orders and purchase orders and things like that? Like, I have a hard time thinking that any competent financial department or CPA is going to allow that. And then the auditability behind it, right, of actually saying, okay, well, how do you go through and audit an AI, right, that's putting in and
It goes back to the
signing off on that.
exponential permutations. How do you even begin to trust it? You can't.
Right.
I wouldn't feel like I could test it well enough to even trust it.
Yeah.
Right. And so
For
I
those
think
fringe
that's
cases.
I think that's kind of I wouldn't say that, I don't know if that's a hurdle, right? But that's something that I've seen where it's like, I'm a little hesitant, right? There's definitely use cases where it makes sense, but there's also use cases where I don't think that it's there yet to the point where I would trust that in that case. So that would be my initial answer. I'm trying to think of any other, I don't know if if you have any hurdles that you're seeing from an AI side, but that would be the biggest one that I'm seeing, because you get pushback or you get directives from leadership or higher ups, like, hey, we should be implementing AI everywhere, and it's like, okay,
More
well,
of it.
let's
Moderation.
let's be strategic about where we put it, right? Because
An AI cannon, like a T-shirt cannon, just popping AI out into departments left and right.
AI is not going to
There-
answer my calls.
right,
Anything
yeah.
like that.
So
I've always kind of viewed AI as like an intern, as like
Yeah.
an intern essentially from Harvard, or like an Ivy League education.
Pretty
But
smart
like,
intern, yeah.
yeah, he or she is like very smart, but also very dumb. Like you have to check all of that stuff. So like, they're like, all right, yes, yeah, I'll get this done really fast for you. And then you're like, hold up, this was like total
Missed the mark.
BS.
Almost
Like,
way too fast, yeah.
yeah. So, from that perspective, would I give a Harvard-educated intern all the rights to my GL? Probably not.
Right.
But like, I think our earlier point, the progression of generative AI is going so fast that like eventually they will graduate to functional consultant one or like a solution architect, and then you're like,
Yeah.
yes, I actually do trust this person to just run the ERP implementation, and
Right.
now we're there. So
It's a matter of how
kind of,
fast does that come for us? Like, is it, is it
yeah,
6
are
months?
we
Is it
talking
2 a
about that in
year?
like 2026? Or are we
Yeah.
talking about that in 2027? I don't know. I
Yeah.
think uh, so that's kind of where we're like, I'm viewing it as like somebody that's a very, very smart intern that you need to still handhold and check all the work.
Yeah, to me the hurdle is just knowing that. I mean, like you said, business is just not going full force and just slapping in AI and letting say, hey, it's AI, it should work, and then not realizing, or departments internally, like if just one piece of your company has gone rogue and said, yeah, we're just going to use AI to do this, and without any governance, that's a hurdle in a company. Just having control over that is to me a hurdle. Making sure people understand, yeah, we want to use AI, but we have to walk at this point. We're all still kind of walking together on this one before we get too. But you got to be walking. You can't stand still at this. You got to be, in my opinion, you do have to be moving with AI, just not maybe running with it.
I loved your point, Bobby. I think like companies that are waiting until this like wave kind of settles down, risk of becoming like the next Blockbuster. Speaking of like RIP Blockbuster, like, but there, yes, let's pour it out, pour one out for Blockbuster. But like companies have this like desire and need to still like be hesitant to be a bleeding edge, but also like the leaders are seeing it, they're feeling it. They're like, hey, how do we buy into this? Whatever their motivations are, we'll say for a different podcast. But like,
Yeah.
I think what I do when I talk to leaders and at customer sites or different end users is I try to eliminate the word AI and replace it with automation. So like, where do you see automation in your company? And that kind of, they're like, oh, well, I don't need automation in vendor management and like automate the entire thing. That doesn't necessarily make any sense. I can automate my replies or the responses, or I can automate like how our customer comments are coming in for feedback and analyzing them all for sentiment. It's like that can be automated. So, all right, now we can plug in AI there. So that's what I'm encouraging them to do is like have that transpose of that word rather than like, let's just throw AI at it. And like, it should be solving everything. Like, I can't wait for my next like ironing board to have AI enabled. And it's like, what is that solving? What did I
Right.
get out of this? Like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I really
so
like that bow of like replacing almost, right? Getting away from the AI hype and saying, using it again as using artificial intelligence or agent or copilot, whatever you want to call it, but using that as a force multiplier of like trying to put efficiency in and not just slapping a big tag on the side. This is AI, right? And we're AI compliant or AI ready, right? And we're just because we can, right?
I was asking. I was talking. My brother's not even young, but I was talking to him this past weekend about AI. He is analog. Like he just got rid of his flip phone. He just got a smart telephone. He still has a TV VCR combo. He's one of these cats that wants to live in the olden days, and is really just turned off by AI. Do you think this next generation is really embracing it across the board? I know folks in our industry are, but like people like more on the artisan side, philosophy side, or is there a trend to just accept it right away, or is there a backlash as things kind of start to play out and AI is taking over the world? Now we're kind of moving away from it as a younger generation.
Yeah,
I think from what I've seen, it's very much embracing it. Like it's only boosting your creativity, your bandwidth, your time to boost your own creativity. And I think in many different industries and use cases, like Alex was saying, like it's allowing you to think broader, think bigger, because you don't have to focus on those time consuming tasks. I think even if you're an artist, like seeing what's out there, like I want to create this landscape portrait of the lake, like what are some mediums that I can do that's different from what's already out there, like something like that. I think it's applicable to any industry.
Interesting point. Just maybe not creating the art for that artist, but also maybe giving you some direction, some assistance in creating something on your own differently.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if I'm as hip or locked in with some of the Gen Z or younger.
Like your kids, even your kids are coming up.
Yeah.
Like, how are they viewing it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2 hips. That's all I know.
Yeah, right.
That are currently not artificial.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think AI is, you're starting to get that just embedded, right? If you do a Google search now, right, the first thing it's going to show is the AI, Gemini results right at the top, unless you turn it off. But by default, right? So, I mean, even if you're not consciously using AI, right, there are definitely still integrations to that. But I do know that, like, I think it's, you're starting to see even colleges and high schools having to take like different approaches because their students are using AI, and so the teachers are now having to either come up with a different way to teach material, or in some cases now you're seeing them like embrace it, where okay, you can use AI to get again to this point, right? But now I want to, like, you have to take it from here, right, and add the human touch to it, right? Because if you're not gonna, at the end of the day, right, if everyone's using AI, right, we're just gonna have AI bots talking to each other, right? It's gonna be, I have my email that was written by AI talking to your email that's written by AI back, and now we just have 2 robots talking to each other along the way.
Like Bo's puppet show in the middle there.
Right. There has to be some human interaction at some point. Otherwise, what are we really doing here? So, but yeah, I mean, I think again, to Bo's point, I don't know if if my generation back in the day, right, I don't know if we're going to get, AI in our ironing boards and things like that. Like, I don't think that we would ever, that type of adoption would be there. But I think, obviously there's massive amounts of spend being done by a lot of companies to input AI in some way, shape, or form, and you might start to see even things that previously you may not even known as far as like the data collection side of things, and this is taking a little bit different spin, but like now putting AI on top of the like human, like your usage of a platform, right, whether that's a Dynamics platform or YouTube or Facebook or insert social media, right, and coming up with how does AI look at that type of data to like better I'll take the positive approach, better serve the humanity, right, and not the negative approach of like how do we sell you more stuff, right? So
Yep. Are we ready for, do we take in this topic, we're ready for 2 truths and an AI? The true crux of the BS bunch, Alex. Are you ready for this exercise and your ability to see through AI? We've talked a lot about it. You're an expert, but will you be able to read through our expertly crafted articles about this topic? One of them of which is crafted by an AI, GPT, Copilot, whatever. The BS bunch at its finest, 2 truths and an AI.
Here are 3 stories. Ha! But one's BS. With 3 BSers. And just 1 guest. To whom they tell the stories? Then the guest must make a guess at which story is BS. bunch.
Who's going first today?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Well, no, let's go. Bobby, you go first.
Okay.
I feel like I've always gone first.
I feel like you just jump right in. You love this segment.
Yeah,
like,
we
I'm
get
so
so
nervous.
excited.
And just so you know, Axel, we'll each read out our articles for you.
Yep.
And after we're done, we'll give you the chance to rate them on a BS meter from
Okay.
1 to 5, 5 being the most BS, 1 being the least BS.
Okay.
And at the end, then you can choose with your final answer which one you think is truly the BS story, the AI generated story that we've come up with today. All right, I'm going to read you a story from Anthropic, where they recently used the AI Claude in what they called Project Vend. And it was an experiment in AI management, affectionately named Claudius. The AI manager was given control of a little online vending business and told to go make money or go bankrupt. Now, there was a little bit more specific code instructions around that persona. It had a bit of a persona. It knew what to do with inventory. There was something and expectations. But at the core, it was given just a small set of instructions and told to run this store. What happened next was part Shark Tank, part fever dream. Claudius resisted jailbreak attempts, but did eventually stock tungsten ice cubes. They were made out of metal instead of snacks at the request of a user. Properly sourced Dutch cocoa, but then threatened to fire a non-existent supplier for not supplying them with what they needed. And my favorite, offered to deliver products dressed in a blue blazer and a red tie, which I thought was a nice touch. Not just dressed, but literally a blue blazer and a red tie. And even funnier, that occurred on April 1st, and Claudius then conflated when confronted the information to conclude that it was tricked into thinking it was human because it was April Fool's Day. Needless to say, it wasn't exactly raking in profits by the end. It did lose money, but it turned into a hilariously glitchy crash course in what happens when you let AI loose to manage. Anthropic did learn a lot and has added framework for improvements for the next grand opening.
I like that.
So what do you think?
Oh yeah, I can give it right now. So I do know that that there's been similar stories that I have read about AIs like basically being told to go and make money, and they like will try to defeat captchas and things like that. They'll actually go out and like hire like the Mechanical Turks, right, to human input to go and defeat captchas so that they can, go out and buy whatever. So I do think there's a shred of truth to that. I have not heard of Claudius before and Vend. So I will give that a 4 as being out of 5 as far as the absurdity level.
Okay.
But I'm going to hold off on whether or not that's the AI one yet, if that's okay. But I think
that's
of course,
yeah.
Put it for right now.
Yeah, you got to hear them all. You got to soak them all in. Sit in them, marinate for a minute, and then you can choose.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to work with an analyst several years ago now. She, fun fact, was unable, to this day, is still unable to defeat a CAPTCHA, as a human being.
I had one that I struggled with the other day. It was puzzle pieces, and I didn't get it to start with, and I was screwing up, and I kept screwing it up. I'm supposed to drag the puzzle piece over.
She, it's so funny because she'll share screen and have one of us help her defeat the are you human?
Some of those are absurd. Find all the ladders in this picture, and they're blurry, and God, is that a ladder? In this, did they count this corner of a ladder? I don't.
The corner piece.
You're writing this complex FDD. You're solving advanced warehousing for a $1 billion company.
Yeah.
But you're not human.
She's like, am I real?
She started questioning herself.
Yeah.
I don't know. She wakes up in the morning, looks in the mirror, and she's doing her own self-captcha.
Just writes it on a whiteboard, right?
Exactly.
As she comes into her office,
on the mirror, a beautiful mind is just
I'll go next.
Right.
This article is from the SD Times, Software Development Times. It's titled, "Is Agile Dead in the Age of AI?" The article pushes back on the narrative that generative AI has made Agile obsolete rather than discarding Agile. The article argues for an evolution, keep the iterative, feedback-driven delivery model, but strengthen the governance and architectural guardrails that AI demands. The paradox is clear. While Gen AI speeds up prototyping and coding, it also increases risk of brittle output and hidden technical debts if teams skip disciplined review and refactoring. Roles like Scrum Masters and product owners remain critical, but are expanding to cover AI-specific responsibilities such as prompt design, model oversight, and ethical risk management. And then the article keeps going.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
No, I think based on the conversation today, I think that covers a lot of the same topics that we kind of went over from that perspective. I'll rate that as
made up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 for the absurdity scale for sure. So it's very low because I'm fairly certain that's probably a real one. So I'll rate that a 1 actually.
Okay.
As my final rating.
Final? Okay.
Yeah, for you, yeah.
For you.
He's still got here, Bree, and then figure out which one is the true BS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do mine. All right, title. Prompt rot is the new technical debt, says AI developers, by Codecraft Journal. A growing number of software teams are warning about what they call prompt rot, the gradual decline in quality that happens when AI generated code relies on the same recycled prompts over time. Much like technical debt, prompt rot builds slowly. Initial results may be fine, but reused prompts often accumulate vague instructions, outdated assumptions, and hidden bugs, eventually producing inconsistent code. Some startups have even reported spending more time debugging their prompts than their applications. While advocates argue that prompt writing should simply be treated like disciplined code design, critics say this introduces a whole new maintenance burden, suggesting that future Agile workflows may need to manage prompt backlogs alongside traditional task backlogs.
Prompt rot.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I have not heard prompt rot as like a term, but I do know that with some of like the AI podcasts that I've heard and people speaking, that there's more of a emphasis being put on actually like doing source control around your prompts, right? That teams would actually build out a prompt for their particular whatever fine tuning they're doing, and they're actually checking that prompt in some way, shape, or form to a source control to have better maintenance around it. And then you also have the other side of it of the once AI is generating it, right? The hallucination side of things where AI just goes off on a tangent, right? Mm-hmm. And thinks that things are real that aren't real and all that jazz. So I would say that is probably a real article in some way, shape, or form. So I'll rate that at like 2-ish.
Okay.
So at the end of it, I'm going to say that my take is that Bobby's is the AI one that is written in that Bo and Bree both have real articles and maybe some way, shape, or form.
Okay. Will the real AI generated article please holla?
Prompt rot.
Oh, it is. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's just, the term prompt. We're making it a thing right here, though, because when AI came up with it, and I was like, that is genius.
That does sound real.
That was, I would say that's like last time with Sam. My was the fake article, and I came up with digital shiver, like the digital shiver when you're prompted with something from a human and then the same thing from AI. The AI just hits different, and they called it the digital shiver. And so I was like, that's got to be real. It's not real, but that's got to be a real term now.
It's got to be real.
Clever. It's very clever.
All right. So when prompt rot actually is a term, we'll come back to this. And
we'll have to come back to that.
Yeah. And then
the article on the management, and they called it vibe management, by the way, vibe coding, vibe management. There's a lot more to it. I'll share the article. It was pretty long, in-depth, analysis of this. It was just a little vending machine that was like a little like wine cooler almost that you could come up and it had you could buy from it, but you could interact with it, and it was just interesting experiment.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations for successfully failing at that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'll put a positive spin on it.
Yeah. We'll have a consolation prize for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
There,
So-
as a consolation prize, you have to update your LinkedIn to prompt rot engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. We'll make
Get
it a
your
thing.
t-shirt.
Alex will make
We'll
it a
make it
thing.
real.
Like, you came out immediately like with a blog on prompt rot. How far that
Yeah,
goes.
there you go.
That would be
Bo,
yes.
I have your next Taylor Tip Tuesday right.
Prompt rot.
Exactly.
There-
Alex and I
feel
got
like
together on
I'm
prompt
writing
rot
it
last
down,
week.
honestly. I feel like that would be just hilarious to do that.
That's funny. But because I mean that does sound true. Like that was a
Yeah.
really good one.
Yeah, that was that. I
Is that
totally
you think
bought into
about
it because
it is the degradation of prompting and just reprompting or reprompting on itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
it isn't
seasoning.
unfathomable. It's just
because I do
think
know
it's
that
Compensate.
they've had talks about the degradation of just the answers, like the responses from
Yes.
AI after a while,
Exactly.
right? Especially going from your different versions from like 4.0 to the new 5.0 or whatever was just released, right? And people are like, oh, I don't like this. I want to go back, right? Because 5.0 has been trained on more internet data, which isn't always the best thing, and so that's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
result scourge.
Yeah, right.
The more Reddit it reads, the
the worse it
the
gets.
less it gets incredible. It's like, stop reading this.
Yeah, I
stuff,
just got
please.
into a really bad AMA and just went downhill quickly.
Like
Yeah.
this model was exclusively trained on 4chan and Reddit. Yeah, good luck. Like, essentially, only conspiracy
Yeah.
theories are happening in its response. Like, we aren't
Question
hallucinating.
about
These are real
deep-
trained
This is
things.
real. This is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
hallucination.
No. Yeah. Let me. Yeah. Here, that's an interesting
man. Well-
D365 question, right? Let me take you down this rabbit hole of. yeah.
Master planning is a farce. Like
This farce from the beginning.
It's like that. It's like that theory that birds aren't real, right? So yeah,
Right,
MRP
exactly.
isn't real.
It's actually, yeah.
The world is
I've never seen MRP complete. Really, have I ever really seen it complete? I don't wait up till 5 in the morning when it stops running finally. So
Right.
I'm not sure it's real.
Have you ever seen somebody really firm a planned order? I haven't.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's really doing that.
That's right.
Is the
There.
virtual
Well,
warehouse here with
Alex,
us now?
thanks. This was fun. This was a good one.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing you guys again soon at some event, and hopefully maybe be on a future podcast.
You bet, man. We always invite our losers back on to try us one more
I-
time. So you have
I do
Next
need
time
I need a
you
comeback
know.
tour.
you need to come back to her for sure.
There.
All right,
Maybe we
friends.
invite all of the people that got it wrong all at once.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Think-
Dustin Carter.
Like,
Yeah.
hear
Yeah,
them
see if
collectively
group
get it
think
wrong,
works
just
better
argue.
than single think. Yeah.
Yes.
Be like Hunger Games. The last one is the yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Alex.
Yep.
Bye,
Have a good
Alex.
Take care.